Okay, good afternoon, everyone. How y'all doing today? Thank you for our next segment of working with us on Jericho Road. As we can see, we're on location. We're doing a lot of stuff today. And what I would like to do is take the time. Oh, yeah, okay, I got it. What I would like to do is take the time to talk about some things that I saw. And as I was working on a project, I went to a next project and I saw a mother and daughter talking. And it was such a dysfunctional relationship, right? That you didn't even know who to blame. You know what I'm saying? Um, Today's theme is developmental issues that leads to abusive relationship or trauma that leads to you being um unfunctional for a good relationship, right? And how people who talk about they want good relationships are always drawn to chaotic people or chaotic relationships, right? And why is that? Because the things that we desire is not the things that we enter into. And why do we keep entering into the things that seems to damage us rather than uplift us? So it's what they call an oxymoron. It's a total contradiction to what we talk about, but to what we desire, right? And we're gonna take a look at a couple clips of some people expressing those same thoughts, like because I wanted to click in, like people are actually saying this, and they're coming to these conclusions, and they don't know how they're coming to these conclusions, but for them, it's normal. And from the person who's looking outside, it's abnormal. We are saying that you're damaging yourself, and them saying that they're saying I'm okay. So their norm is not our norm, and the things that they're doing is not what we're doing. But before we get into the total conversation, I want to show you the clip with the mother talking to her daughter, and she's expressing her problem. All right. So if you could bear with me for a quick second while I go and get the clip, we
That
can.
sounds interesting. You said she's sharing with her daughter her problem. I
No,
can't
no, no.
wait to see this
The
video.
daughter is sharing.
Oh,
The both of them are actually sharing. But it's so powerful because at the end of the day, the both of them are sharing, and there is nobody to solve their problem. Each one has a legitimate problem. It's interesting.
interesting.
Interesting. Hold on a minute. My computer is moving slow, so bear with me. I'm going to fix it though. Bear with me. It's freezing. Okay, here we go. Uh, uh, uh. I just put it on. Come on. My computer is freezing. Hold on. Here we go. It should be coming up now. I gotta get somebody to help me fix my computer. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here we go. All right, hold on. We're gonna have to limit the clips today because of the slowness in my computer. I'm so sorry. This thing is moving at such a speed that you wouldn't even imagine. Okay, here we go. I got it. Open. Oh, come on.
Can you actually open it up on the social media platform? Will that work as opposed to where you have it saved?
A social media
Would that-
platform.
Well, where did you get it? Like, did you get it off of like, can you Google it and then pull it up is what I mean.
I mean, it's on my Instagram. I could always pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. I found the clip, but it's just okay. Here we go. Let me plug it in. All right, so it should be coming up now. It's moving slow. All right, it's moving slow. Okay, here we go. No, the computer is just not acting right. All right, hold on. I'm gonna fix it up there. I know what to do.
Listens, but she don't hear.
Okay, give me an example.
Please. Like,
Can you hear it?
I told her, like, hey, mom, I got violated and stuff like that.
Could you hear it? Are y'all there? I'm gonna play
I don't
it.
hear anything. Could you hear it, Sherry-Ann?
I'm gonna play it so you could hear it. Okay.
Okay,
I heard a
Okay.
little bit.
okay.
Okay. Oh, you heard it like that? Okay, good. Let me see.
Yes,
I'm gonna,
yes.
I'm gonna play
In
it.
January. And she lit a cigarette and was like, okay. And then she didn't say nothing. And then I got up and I walked off.
All right.
What was going through your mind?
I was molested when I was younger.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna.
This is a triggering conversation for me. One thing
Oh, I saw this
Okay.
on the Karamo show.
On
Yeah.
the Karamo show. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna play it now. So you can listen.
Mama listens, but she don't hear.
Okay, give me an example.
Please. Like, I told her, like, hey, mom, I got violated and stuff like that in January. And she lit a cigarette and was like, okay. And then she didn't say nothing. And I got up and I walked off.
What was going through your mind?
I was molested when I was younger. This is a triggering conversation for me. One thing I will not do is sit here and be ridiculed by my own child who knows I will go to the ends of the earth for you. You know it.
Mama,
No,
I didn't
listen.
say no.
You didn't say your piece. Now listen to me. And the reasons why I didn't say nothing, because you know this already. If you felt like you needed more help, I'm not the one to help you with it because I ain't done with my own healing. And you know this. This is not something I hear from you. So if you needed that healing, what you should have did was got yourself some doggone professional help or reached out to me and said, I need professional help. So how the hell am I supposed to help you if I can't help myself?
Mama listens, but she don't hear.
Okay, did you hear that?
I did. I actually saw that one too, but I'm gonna let
I
Sherry-Ann
saw it,
respond
yeah.
because she was shaking her head. I'm gonna let her.
And she wants the young lady, the daughter, to do what she didn't do. How you going to tell her to seek help and you're still going through the same trauma? You never sought help.
All
It
right.
just, it blew my mind when I saw that.
I never expected that response. I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
You and I,
I
none of,
didn't either.
I didn't either.
I don't know about you, but that's not what I was expecting her to say. That's one.
Right.
All right.
But-
Number two, right? Now, we are the parents for a reason. We are the guardians for a reason. We are the ones that's the overseers for a reason.
That's right.
And you know, we have a thing, we have different levels of love. We have the agape love, which is sacrificial love, the highest form of love, which is what parents should have for their children. We constantly make sacrifices for our children that we normally wouldn't make for other people because of the love and the care that they require. That's just what it is. They require a lot more because they're dependent on us, because they're entering into a world that they don't know or don't understand. So when anything happens to us, they're dependent on our input, they're dependent on our actions, they're dependent upon how we react to them in order to deal with these circumstances, right? So it becomes a thing where if you're not able to react or not even try to react when your daughter or someone is going through something, it becomes a nature of selfishness. It becomes a nature of incapability of you being able to do what you need to do for your child. Sometimes you have to overlook your own circumstances, overlook your own pain
Exactly.
in order to do it. And because the fact of the matter is this: if you don't do it, nobody else will. And that what might happen is that means one ship is sinking and the other one is going to sink before it even began.
You know what? When I saw that video, it hit me to the core because it resonated on so many different levels. Because when I thought about it, I was like, dang, most of the time, like you said, as parents, it gives us the power and the strength to push past what we've gone through to kind of help our child and to address some of their issues. Like you said, Sherry Ann, she was telling her to be the victim and the solution oriented person. Like, you got the problem, you go fix it, you deal with it. And one of the things that came to my mind is that we are in such a place that we learn this. We're fortunate enough to learn. I mean, most people, and I say this because I see people all the time who are stuck in their trauma, and something as simple as being able to get up and
Despite
pick
what I
up
have to
and
do,
move up.
God is going to see my diligence and bless me to find the papers. I think it's in that. Amen. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I see people who are stuck in trauma, and as much as what I heard her say, what I heard from her is that she was so stuck and frozen in her trauma that not only was she not able to confront it and deal with it, she wasn't even in a place to be able to help her daughter pick up the pieces and deal with it. Like, it was kind of like, sometimes we go so far and bury something so far in so that we don't have to face it, we don't have to deal with it. And it was just kind of like, man, like, where was the resiliency to kick in? And then when I started unraveling it, I was like, man, that trauma that kept her stuck, that kept her stunted, that didn't allow her to move out of that place and move out of that position. Not everybody have that information. And I was like, it literally blew my mind. And it hit me in a place because I'm like, without the information I got, I probably could have been that person, not in that situation, in that scenario, but we repeating the same pattern because that information is reinforced. But I'm getting ahead, but that was just what I was thinking about when I saw that. So I just wanted to share that because it was kind of like, no, I could see her she was literally, you could hear her in her voice. She was still reliving some of that trauma because what she was talking about with her daughter was not present. Her daughter was calm, telling her situation, and she was still reliving that trauma of nobody helped me. Where was my support? I couldn't even do it for myself. There was nobody in my background to help me to navigate this. How do you expect me if I didn't get the help and I don't know what to do to help you? So that's what I was hearing and seeing and all of that.
Okay, all right. So that's cool. And definitely, from a standpoint, definitely from a standpoint that you're talking about, the daughter is incapable of helping her own situation and the mother is incapable of helping their situation. So you have two people who don't know how to navigate their problems. And what the problem is what is the answer? You in that case, you have to come up with a solution because your daughter is that if the mother experienced it, she knows the crossroads already of what she experienced and what she's going through. So it seems like the daughter is experiencing it at a younger age than the mother. So what happens is whatever the mother went through is going to be worse for the daughter because she's starting at an earlier age. We have to come up with a solution. They had to come up with a solution in order to prevent that from happening. And that is my point. And that takes us to the next clip of the day. Let me see if I could get to the next clip because this it kind of explains, and I just wanted to see what your thoughts was about what he said or what he said. I find Dr. Umar is one of our most prolific speakers, and sometimes I agree with him, and sometimes I don't. So here is what he had to say about emotionally damaged people. Let me see. There we go. Emotionally Damaged People by Dr. Umar Johnson. Do you agree?
Emotionally damaged people are always sexually promiscuous. Let me say this again. If you are traumatized, if you are emotionally damaged, you are promiscuous. And do you want to know why?
Why is that?
Emotionally traumatized people require constant validation from others. You married to a woman who's been traumatized, abused, abandonment, whatever. When you're not around her for too many days, she has to entertain another man because her trauma dictates constant validation. And constant validation means I must have a man in my personal space. You ever date a woman who was crazy about you? She absolutely loved you, so you thought. It was really addiction.
Yeah.
When you finally let her go, when you finally got her to stop stalking you, she ended up with another man like that. And your ego took a hit. You said, wait a minute. I know that woman was crazy about me. Climbed in my window, came to my... You understand? She was she was crazy about your presence in her life. And the minute you distance yourself from her life, she found a replacement without a problem. Emotionally damaged people are promiscuous because they cannot go without constant validation.
They need that validation.
They need it. Most of our promiscuous women are damaged women. They're not having sex because they love having sex. They're having sex because they have learned this is the only way I can get a man's attention.
So
Yes,
when
I agree.
When I put that, but wait, hold on. When I put this on social media, right, it caused such a spark. People cursed out Dr. Umar Johnson. They said that's not true.
Until he got to the last part, I was wavering all the way up until, because you can be emotionally damaged and seek validation, but it didn't necessarily have to be there. But I understood the point he was making toward the end when he said having that constantly and understanding that you can't get the validation without crossing into that space. So that's where I was like, okay, that makes sense. But I was like, yeah, no, not everybody. Yes, there might be some damaged people that you're going to see constantly seeking validation. They might be unfaithful. They might cross the line over here. But to say that, but I understood what how he wrapped it up and summarized it toward the end. So I can kind of agree to a point.
So you saying
I agree. I agree 100% because I'm a living witness to that. That was me. Before I got saved and I started looking into where the promiscuity came from, because I was rejected from the womb by my dad. So for me, I understood it very well. And I think maybe if you're walking in that mile and then you have come to the place where you see yourself, you would understand. And everything he said was my teenage and 20-year-old self to a T.
I understood what he was saying until he said the point of you having to cross that line, because
yes,
you're not going to get that validation until you cross that line. They're not going to tell you that. That's not where you're going to get it. They will love you, all of that, but you got to do a little bit more to get that. So I understood that. So yeah, I mean, I understood like exactly what he was saying and the point he was trying to.
But let's unravel it a little bit more, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do y'all consider validation though?
That
You know why? Because
attention, that male attention.
both men and women seek it. And excuse me, they're willing to give up their lives for it and destroy themselves. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, do we really know what it is?
So I think when we talk about validation, and I always think about this because I was thinking about this from when I was thinking about this topic. And I always go back to, for me, it's always which comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Because that's just my training, my thinking, right? Things don't just start right here. There has to be a foundation. There has to be something in the background before we get to this place, right? And when I was thinking about this, I always loved Erickson's, stages of development because it always talks about, there is a stage of mastery. There's a stage of where you don't master it, what can be a deficit, where it can have those abnormal things. When we talk about validation, that starts from a very young age. I think I kind of alluded to this in the last presentation, when we give those nonverbal cues, like we're saying, I'm proud of you. I'm giving you positive reaffirmation. I'm sharing positive things. I'm validating you. I'm increasing your self-esteem because you're saying that what I'm doing, and this is from our family. This is our first, our first learning opportunities. We're talking with, that is where we get it from, right? But when we don't get those validations and we don't get that information, we kind of figure out what's wrong with me, right?
Mhm.
Something got to be wrong with me because the people that are in my environment, and Sherry Ann, like you said with the last clip, I can live also well in this space right now because the people who are supposed to love me are not pleased with me. I don't see anything positive in their interaction with me. Then what's wrong with me? And then you go seeking other people because I think at the core of everything, everybody wants to know that there's something good about them, right? And that there's something that's great about them, something that's worth celebrating, acknowledging, validating, and we don't get that. So we seek that validation. And I mean, just on a general term, we seek that outwardly, and it can look like different things to different people, different situations, different spaces. But that, for me, that's always where it goes back to, like those relationships that were not settled. I know also well what that looked like. So I understand that process and that journey, wanting to be validated. Tell me that something's good about me. They may not really care about you. They just saying that because they have an end goal, and you, because this is where you're at, needing that, you're willing to receive that or at least accept that. And you might be willing to go a little bit further because you know that if you do this, they're going to constantly do that. And so it feeds on both ends.
It feeds on both ends. All right. So here's my perspective on validation. Validation is looking for an approval for who you are or for what you're supposed to be, right? And validation allows us to play in our potential roles of what we're supposed to take on in our journey in lives. Without that validation, we'll always wonder who we are, what we are, and if I'm acceptable or I am unacceptable. We begin to lose confidence, we begin to lose self-worth, and we begin to not distinguish who we are or what's going on in our lives.
Alert from airdrop.
Which is what destroys us as a child, as a people, as an adult, because we'll be forever wondering who we are and not knowing who we are. And I found out that knowledge of self is very important, because once you have knowledge of self, nobody can tell you who you are. You know who you are, and you know where your specific destination is. I've always heard, once you know your purpose, you know how to weed out all the rest that doesn't involve what your purpose involves. And it's very important because there's so many things in this world that's telling you things about who you are and what you're supposed to be. And a lot of times, if you don't have that initial solid foundation, you go to and fro, testing, wondering, going from different place to place, and never truly finding out who you are, because we become confused. We become docile in our own thoughts and actions. And sometimes it either leads to procrastination, it either leads to stagnation, or it leads to just a person just existing rather than living. Right? So validation is the very key point for us to propel us to go from where we're at to where we need to go. and to unleash our hidden potentials within inside of us. And because a lot of people don't know who they are and they're being told who they are, now they're leading lives that's contrary to who they're supposed to be. And this is the problem. So validation, it becomes the key focal point for me understanding what I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to be, and how I'm supposed to act, and what's expected of me.
And so I would just say this as somebody who had to take
Alert
that
from
journey
your
of somebody who had to take that journey of self-discovery and being able to find out all that information. Everything you said was so true and it was so on point, but it's kind of like what, before you can understand where you're going, you have to know who you are. And that, like you said, that is established from the foundation, from the relationships. If you're in a situation and people don't know who they are, and they're living by whatever means, and they're just grabbing this and grabbing that and just going on, it's really hard for you to know who you are. The next generation, I would say. So let's say, for instance, I am a child, and then I have social media telling me what I'm supposed to look like. I have friends telling me what I'm supposed to be doing. Everybody is imposing their ideas, their beliefs on me. And if I don't have a strong system of who I am, then I'm gravitating to all of that. And like you said, it becomes frustrating because now you're trying to please so many different people doing what they said looks good on you or you should be doing, as opposed to you knowing what is meant for you to do and what your purpose is to accomplish. So I definitely agree with you with that. It's just so important. Your validation, self-confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, self-reassurance, all of that ties in together into your destiny and the work that you're created here to do.
Right.
To
So
do.
I find that somebody telling you who you are, right, doesn't necessarily align with who you really are or what you need to be. And sometimes the mentorship or the person that's giving you this information a lot of times doesn't even have your best interest, or they don't know who they are themselves. You understand?
No, what I was saying is that when we talk about validation, I'm talking about at the formative years, because in my environment, my mother and my father is going to lay down that there's something good in me just by how they respond to me, how they interact to me, how they create spaces around me that I feel loved, I feel safe, I feel secure, I feel protected. All of that is in those stages that we are supposed to have, that helps us to get to the next level in our relationship, the building. Yes, I'm not talking about the mentors. They come down the road, but I always think about the formative years, which is always something that we don't think about. We think, we just do what we do, and then kids are going to develop that and they're going to know, but it starts at a young age. How we say, I love you, how we say, I'm proud of you, you did a great job, how we show them the smile and the acceptance. That at those ages are building confidence, self-esteem, self-value. They're knowing that, okay, I did this wrong. When we guide them, when we say, okay, honey, apple and orange, well, that was really good, but you know what? Let's try it this way. We're allowing them to make mistakes, to problem solve, to think. We're cultivating a positive self-image and establishing that within the child at those ages. So hopefully when they get older, they will be able to connect with the right environments because they have the right foundation. But I agree with you. Somebody that you don't know who you are, and somebody that is telling you who you are at a later age in life can be quite a challenging. And it can be, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word right now, but it can be a conflict, right? You're telling me I'm supposed to be this way. I know I'm this way. And you're saying, well, if you want to do this way, then maybe you need to be that way. But maybe that worked for you, but maybe not for me. I have to know who I am. I have to know what I'm created to do. And I have to be able to follow that. And I think in life, until we get to that place, when I talk about rediscovery and, all of that, rediscovering who you are, because that is a journey in the process. There's a lot of information throughout the developmental cycle. We're learning a lot of different things, a lot of people, a lot of environment, a lot of things is shaping who we are. But when we get to that place and we know who we are, then we know, like, yes, I appreciate you, what you have to say, but that doesn't change what I'm going to do at the end of the day.
Right. That's exactly that's the last statement. And so unpacking that last clip, it didn't even seem like the mother could hug her daughter at the time of her need, though. And it seemed to me like if the mother couldn't say nothing, at least she could have hugged her daughter and say, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be okay. Sometimes you don't even have to say a lot. All the person needs to know is that you're there for them and in their corner. And that lack of interaction and that lack of care, I think contributed to that daughter's reaction of my mother doesn't care. You know what I'm saying?
But the mother, she just lacked empathy. Like it was just like
Okay, that's it.
I was like, oh, what the who, who, who?
That
That
was
was my mother.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was just like, what the heck?
Exactly,
But
exactly.
I do have to say that the young girl, she had such a composure with her. She
Yes,
was not
yes.
in the trauma like her mother was. Her mother, obviously, I don't know. It still sounds like
It
it's alive.
embodied the mother. It took her over.
Right.
It embodied her. It swallowed the mother.
It's
Yeah.
still live and active in her. You can see the
Yes.
activeness in her. It's like Brian and the daughter was like really calm, like, yes, this happened to me. And I didn't get the support that I needed from my mother. And I you know what I think? The mother wasn't even, it's okay that you have your trauma, right? But she wasn't even able to listen to her daughter. Like, we're not telling you to negate what happened to you. That happened to you, and I'm sorry that happened to you. But now we're talking about me in the present. And that trauma was so she couldn't even disconnect to hear her daughter and to be empathetic to what she went through and sympathetic and offer her some encouragement. Don't tell me what you would do. You ain't doing it right now. You're talking apples and oranges. You're gonna do this and you're gonna do that for me. And I'm telling you about a problem and you're being dismissive. You can't even give me a hug or some support or some encouragement. I'm so sorry, baby. I know what that feels like. None of that. She was still alive. That pain and that trauma and that situation, like Sherry Ann said, just swallowed her up and she could not function. And I see so many people like that, but the daughter looked like she had such a better handle on the situation that it did not consume her or destroy her. She was just saying, this is what happened. You didn't listen to me. I'm, a matter of fact, telling you what the situation is. And even in that, the mother wasn't able to hear that.
That's what we call mothers incapable of giving love, right? Because you could tell just from those statements and what we just unpacked that that's an emotionalist setup between the mother and daughter. And probably in situations like that, the daughter is raising themselves. And
she's probably raising a parent too, because the mother seems so disconnected from the family. Like she probably disconnected from self just to kind of cope.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of major issues rather than just what they're talking about there that you can unpack. So this child going into a relationship now, she's gonna look for somebody that she can feel secure with. Safety is what is gonna be her
I was
thing.
gonna say safety and can protect her, who will stand up for her because no one in her environment did that for her.
All right, so now here's where the person that does that comes in, and it doesn't matter what type of character they has, as long as they make her feel comfortable.
Is that video you showed us? Please let that be it.
Yeah. That is I got one, but I want to talk about
bring it on.
I got another one, and let me load it in and give me a thing because I'm having computer issues today. I'm gonna fix it though. Lord knows I'm gonna fix it.
We are working through those computer issues. We are doing fantastic just because we are having a good conversation about how certain situations impact one generation to the next.
All right, let me see now. It should come up. Got it. Let me see. All right, we're gonna do Afraid to Love first, and then I'm gonna come back to that clip. All right. So we're gonna open afraid to love.
How can you fully love if you're too afraid to get hurt? And if you can't fully love because you're too afraid to get hurt, you have no business dating in the first place. Because what you might mistake for love is nothing more than a psychologically unhealthy attachment or addiction for someone else's presence in your life to validate you. Right now, we got the epidemic of black men killing their women. That wasn't love. You couldn't kill somebody you love. You know what was going on?
Alert from airdrop.
He was addicted to her presence in his life. His illness cannot exist without her presence in his life. And because he can no longer have her presence in his life, he's going to take her life. That's not love. That's psychopathology and addiction. Love don't hurt. If it hurts, it has to be trauma.
Did y'all get that? I'm sorry for the slow thing, but did y'all get that? So he was
No,
saying,
it was glitching. It was glitching a little bit too
he
much
was
for
saying
me.
that.
No, it was glitching. It was glitching a little bit too much for me.
It was glitching a little bit too much for you. Okay, so let me play
Yeah.
it. Let me play it again for you on here. But
Yeah.
what he was that exactly said, and let me know if you could hear it. And then all right. I'm gonna play it so you can hear it.
If you can't fully love because you're too afraid to get hurt, you have no business dating in the first place. Because what you might mistake for love is nothing more than a psychologically unhealthy attachment or addiction for someone else's presence in your life to validate you. Right now, we got an epidemic of black men killing their women. That wasn't love. You couldn't kill somebody you love. You know what was going on? He was addicted to her presence in his life. His illness cannot exist without her presence in his life. And because he can no longer have her presence in his life, he's going to take her life. That's not love. That's psychopathology and addiction. Love don't hurt. If it hurts, it has to be trauma. How can you fully love if you're too afraid to get hurt? And if you can't fully love because you're too afraid to get hurt, you have no business dating in the first place. Because what you might mistake for love is nothing more than a psychologically unhealthy attachment or addiction for someone else's presence in your life to validate you. Right now, we got an epidemic of black men killing their women. That wasn't love. You couldn't kill somebody you loved. You know what was going on? He was addicted to her presence in his life. His illness cannot exist without her presence in his life. And because he can no longer have her presence in his life, he's going to take her life. That's not love. That's psychopathology and addiction. Love don't hurt. If it hurts, it has to be trauma. How can you fully love if you're too afraid to get hurt? And if you can't fully love because you're too afraid to get hurt, you have no business dating in the first place. Because
Okay. What you think? Did y'all hear it?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
I heard
Okay.
it.
So what you thought about that?
I heard it. You want to go ahead? You have anything you want to say, Sherry? I'll wait. You want to go ahead? You have anything you want to say?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna break it down. So
No, I was asking Sherry because I was thinking about a client because I was thinking about a client.
go ahead. You
Oh.
good?
Oh. Yeah, I guess it has a delay.
Yeah, I guess
because
it
of
has
all
a delay because of
Okay. Yeah. No, all I'm saying is, you was going, anybody was going to say something? I could speak first if that's the case. All right,
Go
so
ahead.
here how it goes, right? We learn love by how much we love ourselves. If a person is incapable of loving themselves, they're incapable of loving someone else to that capacity. So if they tell you they love you more than they love themselves, it's not love, it's called love addiction. And it's based on the insecurities that they have in their own lives. It has nothing to do with the actual form of word of love. Totally not, because they don't understand it, because they don't have it within themselves. I can't give you nothing I don't have. I can only love to the level I love myself. And it took me a long time to understand or even to break that down, right? So at the end of the day, what he's actually saying was that if you don't love yourself, or if you're afraid to love, that means that you don't even belong in a relationship, because you're doing the person an injustice, right? And what happens is this is what I was calling leading to the dysfunctional relationship that is at play. And because of the dysfunctional relationship and the dysfunctional things that we consider quote unquote to be love, because of our own insecurities and how we conform ourselves to certain situations because it feels comfortable and not what's right, we end up in dysfunctional relationships where people feel abused, where people feel people are being abused, and they're accepting it because they could saying that they don't know no other form of life. This is comfortable for me, and what's comfortable for you is destructive for you. And we have to understand that the reason why we are comfortable in uncomfortable situations, if that makes sense, right? I want before we continue, I just want you to hear this young lady, because I can see it's better if I let you hear it. This young lady expressing how because she's uncomfortable in a certain way. This is Cardi B. Now listen to what she says. This is so dysfunctional, but she's saying it like it's cool. She's saying it like it's cool, and it sounds cool if you don't have this type of forum to break it down, right? So look how sounding cool and what's been accepted. She got over 13,000 views on this, right? So people was wholeheartedly accepting it. But listen to it.
I have dated men that were extremely faithful to me.
Were they ugly?
No, oh my God. Mad cute, super faithful to me. But it's like a lot of people, you know, when that whole cheating scandal came out, a lot of people say you deserve somebody faithful. But just because somebody like extremely faithful don't make you happy, because
that's true.
The guys that were extremely faithful to me, it just didn't work out. You just need to find somebody that were extremely faithful to me.
Were they ugly?
No, oh my God. Mad cute, super faithful to me. But it's like a lot of people, you know, when that whole cheating scandal came out, a lot of people say you deserve somebody faithful. But just because somebody like extremely faithful don't make you happy, because
that's true.
The guys that were extremely faithful to me, it just didn't work out.
Okay, so now, if you listen to that clip, she's telling you that somebody who's extremely faithful her and treating her nice is not what she's looking for.
She's confused.
Okay, but at the end of the day, even though she's confused, this got over 13,000 views, and there's a lot of people relating to these type of things. You understand what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. Like, so are we talking about contradictions, right? The whole theme is contradictions, right? So she has somebody who's treating her good, but yeah, and being faithful to her, which is what people want in a relationship, right? But she's not comfortable in that kind of relationship.
So you know what? She's not comfortable because it's not the same level of violence and the same level of normalcy that she grew up with. If it's not, I don't want to say, I'm going to say if it's not high energy, or if it's not off the hook or something outrageous, then it's not, you know, that's just seemed boring. Like, yeah, all right, that's just, but when you match somebody's, let me be real with this. When I grew up in an environment of domestic violence. My mother and my stepfather, let me just break it. I like to be transparent in these settings. They used to pull the table aside and start fighting in front of us. We had ringside seats to a boxing match that we didn't ask for. We just got it in front of us. They moved the table and then the blows start going. I wish I was exaggerating, right? So I'm in a relationship. So why can't I throw a basket? Why can't I throw a bassinet at you? Why can't I start going throwing stuff and acting crazy? What's the problem? I'm telling you, this is my question. I was like, what's the problem? Because that level of dysfunction, as much as I say I don't like it, I don't want my kids to live like that, and I don't want this. This was my normal, right? This was the normal that I lived with. Somebody fighting because these people said they love each other, and when they finish fighting, they going back to whatever. So that becomes a pattern. That becomes the foundation for what you know and accept as what is acceptable within the environment, because the people, and this goes back to, these are the people in the beginning, that our relationship laying the foundation for us. It wasn't until I had to get other information to say, wait, hold on. That's not what love is. Love don't look like this. That's not what a family's supposed to look like. And then I had to start comparing the information and be like, well, wait a minute. I didn't like this, what I saw, what they presented to me as normal. And then I was like, you know what? Let me go look with this information here. Let me now use a different compass and a different set of information and directions to show me what a parent or a family structure looked like. So it was my normal. It was like, what do you mean fighting, yelling, screaming, doing all of this stupid stuff? That becomes people normal. That's how they live. That's what they're comfortable with. And it's all good. And who are you to say that something is different? Until they get information, until they see the need to want to change the information, they just business as usual. They're not in the situation is the irony to all this is that they're not wrong. You're wrong. Something wrong with you, not something wrong with them, because they're good. Like you said, 13,000 people said, hey, yay,
And like I said, at the end of the day,
we're not even the majority. We're over here in the minority. They said, what's your problem?
right. So it goes to show you how abnormal is normal, all right? And what you think is normal, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, okay, my thing is this, and I'm just asking because you was talking about it. Even though you found out that what you're doing or how you living is not where it's supposed to be, confronted with a situation where you think it's supposed to be, is it difficult, or do you have to change your mindset, or it's just living because you know it's supposed to be that way, but you don't find no enjoyment in it?
So I'm just going to talk about my own situation. I felt like I was one of those people who was existing, right? I can function, I can do all of the things that I need to do to function, but I felt like I was dying on the inside because I was not happy. It was not fulfilling my life. I couldn't, if you asked me to pinpoint it, I couldn't tell you. All I knew is that I wasn't happy. But when I got another set of information and started talking about, because we're talking about, and why I can talk to you about this. I'm telling you, I come from a background. And I was talking to somebody else. I don't think I've ever heard the word, I'm proud of you. You're smart. You can do it. I believe in you. That was great. I do that now to my kids and the people that I come across with. I don't care who it is, an adult, a child. I'm always saying that because I know the power in that. But more importantly, I want you to believe in yourself. I know you have to be proud of you. I'm always saying, I'm proud of you, but I'm sure you're proud of yourself as well, right? Because it's more important that you develop that sense of confidence and being proud of yourself. But for me, living in that environment, I was just existing. I was not happy. I couldn't be a good present for anybody, right? Because I didn't know what love was. I thought I did. That's why I could tell you this. I thought I understood what love was, but that was not love, because people are fighting in the background and destroying each other. That's not love. Like we just heard, love is not trying to hurt you. Love wants to see the best in you. And when I saw that, I wanted to when I started learning what love was, I wanted to bring everybody along on this journey. However, not everybody wanted to go along on this journey. They were comfortable with whatever the level of information they had and what they were willing to do with it. And that was where they were. But for me, when I started thinking about, you know, some of the things that's for me as a person of psychology background, I love psychology. When I started thinking about the impact it has on your mind, and when I thought about my children's mind, I was like, all bets are off. We can't do this no more. Like, I don't want my children to believe that this dysfunction is what this is indicative of a healthy relationship. For me, it almost tore me to pieces at the core. I was like, I can't live with myself making my children. Now, see, for me, I never had a father. So doing everything in my power to keep a father for them was like really important for me because I felt like I never had that. However, I was like, I can't, when I realized and I understood that that was doing more damage than good, I was like, oh, game, checkmate, it's on like right now. And so I started explaining to them, I was like, no, we're not doing this anymore because I want them, I felt like for my children, nobody did that for me. Nobody asked me. It wasn't a consideration. I didn't want them to believe that this lie is what a happy relationship looks like. This is a lie. You can have a happy, healthy relationship if you want it, but you don't want it. So I don't want them to believe that you do whatever you want to do. And, you know, I didn't want that for them. And I mean, for that, it literally like tore me apart. I was like, Jesus, Jesus, we can't do that. That's not how it's going to go down. Like the fact of breaking down their mind and destroying their mind, their mental health and their well-being, making them confused about a lie. I was like, no, we can't do this. We're not going to do this. And I sat my children down and I said, listen, he's going to love you the way he loves you. You guys are going to have experiences. I'm going to love you the way I love you. Love is about this and love is about that. And love, you can be with somebody and people grow apart, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. He's going to do his thing and that's just a part of life. But we both love you the way we know how to love you. And this is how, you know, this is going to go. Like Jesus only knew it wasn't, I personally couldn't do that. I was convicted by the information. And most importantly, it literally just tore at my gut. Like, I don't want my children to not have a healthy relationship because I'm not presenting them with the right relationship. For me, that was made it for me.
So do you believe by you turning yourself around at this point, it changed the nature of your children's future relationships that they're going to have?
So yes, they understand what love looks like. They understand that somebody that is trying to hurt you doesn't love you. Now, will they get caught up or have they gotten caught up in situations where they might have not made the best decisions? Yes, but they were able to climb out of those situations because they had some solid information and some examples and some truths behind what love looks like. And I didn't stay in, you know, I'm transparent about some of my mistakes without throwing anybody under the bus.
Right.
I don't believe in name calling, you know, talking bad about somebody, because accountability and responsibility, you have to own your piece, right? And it's not about blaming somebody else. It's strictly about right here, I didn't do, this is where I came up short. This is me talking about that. But I gave them the information. What they do with it and what they did with it is solely up to them. But at least they had an advantage point, which I did not have.
All right. So like even for me, right, I'm gonna tell you, learning about this stuff and reading about so much information has evolved my mind and so much of what a relationship should look like and what a person should be and how do you evolve within a relationship. I think what destroys a lot of relationships today is which was what I want to get into next week, because that was a big question here. We look and we try to portray there's roles that we are expected to play, and as life changes, as challenges changes, and we go up to new levels and meet different horizons and outlook, I think our roles change and it becomes interchangeable. And so if we stick with what we do at a certain level and take it to the next level, it's not going to work. So what I'm trying to say is that we are forever being redefined and defined. And what I mean by that is your roles are constantly changing according to the situations that is at hand. We have to learn to adapt to our environment. And what's happening is we're taking a one-time deal and trying to throw it across generations, and it's not working, which is destroying a lot of relationships. I don't know if I'm making sense, right? So take for instance, we talk about gender roles of males, and to provide, protect, and mentor. That's what they're supposed to do. Pastors will say profess, to speak over to their life. I say mentor because at the end of the day, mentorship is so important, because that general guidance helps children to understand how to navigate through the problems, right? You can always tell me, you can always give me the information, but there's some people that needs to have their hand held to have them navigate through it, because on their own, it looks like a mountain and it looks overwhelming. And I say that to say is because I used to box, right? And there will be a time where in the ring where you meet a challenge and you either think that you can't do it or you don't know what to do, and the coach comes up and he tells you, do this, do that. You feel inspired because he's there, you feel secure, and you begin to do what he says, and the next thing you know, what seemed like a challenge it's now not a challenge at that moment, because you're inspired, you're being mentored through, navigated through the problem. It's not that he's doing it, he's just telling you, he's just giving you what you already have inside of you, plus providing you extra information to make it and walking you through it, which is causing you to have a different reaction in your own situation that you're confronting. Does that make sense? Tamika, your microphone, your microphone.
Sorry, I was just hearing that, it just sounded like that support, right? That instructions and the directions. You could see from another angle what I can't see, and you're helping me navigate this. So even though I'm in the ring, I'm not by myself. I'm not doing it alone. I definitely think that is important. I think what you were saying in life, it is important that we be able to shift, be able to pivot, be able to make some adjustments, be able to make some changes, and definitely have those kind of spaces and those kind of places where we have those type of mentorships and those kind of programs, especially for our young men.
Yeah. I definitely believe that is the mentorship is definitely a focal point of us coming out of anywhere where we are into that it seems to either defeat us a lot, or it seems that we can't walk through it, or we find it difficult to walk through it on our own because of our own personal trauma, right? And that's what I was talking about, the lady that was the mother. The daughter has a problem, but the mother has a bigger problem, because the problem that stopped her from when she was a child is the problem that's stopping her as an adult. So here what the issue is, and you look, whatever happened to her at whatever age it happened to her, she stopped growing, right? Her life stopped at that.
Yep. Yep.
It hasn't
She
gone.
was stuck. She's probably in and inside, she's probably in a little corner somewhere, so frightened, so afraid because what was done to her and not having that protection. You're right.
And especially to have that violent reaction off of just talking, you know that the pain is deep and it's been deep. So, and the problem is the longer we let something ferment inside of us, is the harder it is to get out of us, because now that problem, when it started, was a problem, but now that problem becomes
That's a tree right now. And it might have been a little root, but now we got a tree. We got branches, we got leaves, we got everything. We probably spread it from someplace else just because it was not dealt with. And that's often one of the things that I talk about when we talk about relationships. And you said, I think he said, Shouldn't be in a relationship. I always talk about somebody's broken. You know, we have these relationships because we have people who are not healed. I always say broken people, but the reality of it is we are not healed. We have not dealt with trauma situations, pains, and things that have happened in our lives. And then we connect, like he said, for this attachment, this unhealthy attachment, and we're looking for this magic situation and this pill that's going to make this relationship take away that pain, and I'm going to have all of this. And neither one of us have addressed it. And now we have these unhealthy, destructive, toxic relationships that keep just reproducing, keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying, toxic. And I think, in our genre or our generation, we celebrate toxic relationships, right? Even though we see on TV, even in the old movies. I was watching Claudine the other day, and that's one of my favorite movies. You know what I'm saying? So I started analyzing it, right? And when I started analyzing it, I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? This is a relationship that's truly destructive. You got a son who's upset at a mother because she had too many children and is cussing her out, right? And you got another daughter who is hiding from the mother, who is sleeping around and is pregnant with no place to live, with a lot of mouths to feed and nowhere to go, and her education is dropped, talking about ideology that she can't support because she neither has the education or the qualifications to stand on it. You understand? And then you got a mother who is working in a situation where she's barely making enough to make ends meet. And you got the younger one who was falling into the trap of being in economically repressed situation and entering into a life of crime in order to cope with the things that he doesn't have. The other older son is upset. He gets a vasectomy because he doesn't want any children, because based on what he seen going on in there, right? And now both the mother and the son is spilling the hurt and the pain. And I know, especially for boy children, they hate to see their mothers date. That's just the name of the game. You know what I'm saying? That's just the name of the game. So, the father comes in, and I even remember laughing about it with my father when he came in. He was like, yeah, the son told the man, he said, if you hurt my mother, I'm gonna beat you up. You know what I'm saying? And life situations, especially at that age, life situations and things, I guess, everything is not guaranteed to work out. Everything is not what it is. And what I'm saying, everybody's dealing with their own issues, especially when you have already ready-made issues going into another issue. A lot of times people have apprehensions, people triggers, and it takes a mature mind to navigate through that whole situation. So there is going to be fluctuations. There is going to be imbalance. That's just the nature of it. And because we don't understand it, we seek to protect. We attack the person who looks like they're damaging our lives or our mother's lives. And so, really and truly, when you break it down in that form, it's so toxic. But it was such a good movie at the time. You know what I'm saying? I still like it. And the music that, what I'm saying, you like, are we celebrating toxicity in relationship? Is that our norm?
I don't remember all of the movie. All I know is that she had somebody, if I go back with my memory, is that, she was on getting some kind of support from the system.
Yeah.
And they would have to hide everything. And, that whole situation with not having a man in the house. And then, it just really speaks to things that have not changed, right? So you're still allowing people to kind of take care of you, and it's just a whole nother. But I will share, I was in the, I go to the gym often, and I was in the gym today, and I did something. This lady was in the gym with her daughter, a teenage daughter. And I like to mind my business when I'm in, I like to mind my business, period. But I'm sitting in the gym and the mother's telling the daughter, get off the phone, right? She's talking to her friends. Her friends call her and the door. And I'm like thinking to myself, man, I wouldn't do that. You know, you want to hear, like, I guess she don't know that. Let her talk because you want to hear whatever conversation the young people, if she's talking in front of you, don't discourage her from having a conversation in front of you. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. So I'm listening to the conversation a little bit more. And I'm trying not to, but I'm hearing it. And in my spirit, I said to the little girl, the young girl, because she was a teenager, and I said to her, I don't remember all that I said to her, but I said to her, your mother is invested in you. I said, your mother cares about you. She's concerned about you. And I said, sometimes when we in situations with our friends and our peers and they want us to do the wrong thing, don't ask me where I was going, why. I said to her, let me give you some information that I had to give my children when they were in that age. When you see somebody's going the wrong way and they want you to join them, you know what you say to them? You know what? I just realized there's something that I got to do. There's something that I got to do. I'm going to catch up with you. You know what? I just got something that I got to take care. I'll catch up with you. I said to her, I said, your mother invested in you. I said, your mother is here with you now. She wants what's best for you. She wants to make sure that the friendships and the relationships that you have are serving you, that are beneficial to you. And just talking to her about that in my own experience with my children about being able to, I said, your friends may not understand. I said, you don't even have to tell them it's your mother that said that. You could do this. The little girl eyes, she's not a little girl. She was a teenager. Her eyes was like just glued to me. The mother started crying. She was like, you had to be God sent to tell her that. I was like, yeah, your mother. I said, your mother invested in you. I said, I said, you guys are in the gym right now together. That's because your mother care about you. She's concerned about you. She want to make sure that your direction is going in the right way. Everything that she put in you and she sacrificed for you. I said, don't get me wrong. She's not perfect. I said, even in her mistakes and in her errors, anything that I said, but at the core, your mother want what's best for you. I said, a lot of times your friends, they may not know that. They may not have the same level of support at home in their environment. And the little girl, I keep saying little girl, she just was looking at me like I said, yeah, I said, she loves you. You know, like your mother is here for you. You have someone who invested in you, someone who's taken the time to make sure you okay. The mother was like, oh my God, thank you. She was crying. She said, I'm a single mother. I was like, wow. I was like, I don't do that. I normally mind my business. But for some reason, it was important for that young lady to know that her mother loves her and that she's invested in her. Never mind, not everybody is going to invest in their children the right way, but your mother is here invested in you. She's taking time, spending time with you. You're not in the gym by yourself. You're out here together, spending time together. And I was like, oh my goodness. The mother was so happy to hear for somebody else, I guess, to tell her what she needed. But all I could think of as a parent, like, she cares for you, like in her heart. This is an investment in the mother's next generation, that whatever happened to her don't happen to her daughter. And the little girl, I said, I'm so sorry. She was like, no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm like, I don't mind other people's business. But she was like, you're fine. She was like, no, it's fine. I don't know what she needed to hear, but it was important for her to know that no matter what her friends are doing, no matter what they're saying, whatever investment they have, you need to know that there is an investment here. Your mother is invested in you, in your future, in your direction. And I said to her, I said, you know what? I believe in you. You can do it. I said, you can be successful. You can do it. And then I started explaining to her, like, some of the things Saria and them did when they were in Girl Scout. Oh, because I was telling her mother about a positive girl program for her daughter. I said, you can do it. I believe in you. You can do it. The young girl was looking at me like, you don't know me and I don't know you, but I felt so led to share that with her and just to speak into her potential and what she could do.
Yeah. Hey, Sherry Ann, Sherry Ann, you here? You there?
Yes,
Listen,
yes, I'm hearing you.
listen, right? So I really wanted to talk to you also about what we were saying, right? Now, the other day you had like a powerful testimony.
Are we still recording or we not?
We still recording?
Okay.
Yeah. We think, but the other day, like, you had a powerful testimony, right? And we was talking about the struggles and just in general, right? In your struggles and stuff that you saw, right?
Mhm.
How like that particular point that you expressed, like how did that play in to you developing your character, and did it take time for you to find yourself? And if you found yourself at this point, what did that journey look like? And was it painful, or was the process, how was the process?
Well, believe it or not, I did not find myself until I started going to church. And the real culmination of finding myself was literally moving away to North Carolina. The separation gave me the time that I needed to open my eyes and ears to God and God alone, because now I'm out here with no one, no family. So that's where it really, and that was only 3 years ago. Okay, I'm 47, so that happened at 44, and this whole thing with witchcraft and this boy, as I testified, this happened when I was, in
Yeah,
my teens,
that was,
right? So yeah, so it's been a journey, and I have now come, and I have to say it was the separation and moving away that gave me the ability to hear God, speak to God, and come to the understanding that, oh, that's what happened, because now I am alone and God can talk to me fully. Yeah, sometimes you pray and you talk to God, but you don't really listen for his answer. You tell him, but you don't let him tell you. And
so
that was my issue. And I didn't really feel the fullness and the culmination of everything, and could see what happened in the past until the separation of me moving out of state 3 years ago.
all right, so I mean,
Sherry Ann, do you mind if I say something? Because when I heard that, it was when you was talking about that, do you mind, Tony?
no, go ahead, talk, I'm sorry.
It hit me because it connected to something that I had to go through recently. You hear me talk about heal from within, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you hear me talk about my experiences about my own developmental and my own situation. And one of the things that I had to learn in order for me to heal from within is that there's layers to situations in our environment and our situation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
sometimes we don't want to touch them because they can be really traumatic. We have to really pull it open and see the mess, and to see the pus and to see the scar and the ugliness of it, and then not feel like it's a betrayal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
for my own situation, I had to understand, let me just be transparent. I had to understand some things about my own mother and my own situation. I didn't understand why this things, and I couldn't understand. You heard me talk about not having any positive interaction, any encouraging words. And then, but I will tell you that that was painful. That impacted me. And it allowed me not to have trust in my environment, because I trust and safety and security was not something that I felt within my environment.
Right.
That was not supported for me at a young age. So I know I
Right.
can't. So I know I can't, if I can't trust you and you don't have anything
You don't
good,
trust nobody.
trust nobody, because I don't know, I did that already. And so I say all of that to say is that I had to literally pull out some things. And it was kind of like, you really have to pull it out and be honest about the situation and really assess it and reconcile it, so to speak. One of the things that I had to do in order to be able to heal from it, right? Because you feel like if you tap that, then you're portraying a position, a person, a situation. It's a betrayal. But until you really look at it and be like, look, this is what happened. This is my feelings. It don't have to be right. It don't have to be wrong. But until you pull it out and say, hey, this is what's on the table, you can't go nowhere, because it's always being suffocated and pushed down, and you're not given the space and the freedom to say, let me let this go. Let me get rid of this. One of the things that I do with my group, we talk about being able to get, I work with a support group of women in domestic abuse. We talk about being able to let go of the pain, being able to pull out the situation, being able to confront the situation, being able to let it go, And also, how do we move forward? What are some of the things that we talk about? We're talking about mindset, right? What are we putting in our minds? What are the words of affirmation that we're saying to build our self-esteem, our self-confidence? How are we now pulling ourselves from our boots up from this situation to rediscover and recover ourselves? And so that's something, so I understood when you said that, and I was like, oh, it was just like hitting me like, you have to deal with it. And I always talk about that. So I'm passionate about that because I think a lot of times we talk about surface healing, we talk about dealing with some things, but until you get to the root and the nitty gritty, and I know some things don't always do that, but in some cases, you're not going nowhere because you can go make 1-2 steps, and until you deal with the situation, you back here wrestling with it
Still,
again. But you
that's
have
right.
to pull it up. And I thank God for giving that to me, being able to heal from within, to let it go, to find healing, to find wholeness, to be recovered, find recovery from the inside out. So I'm so passionate about that because it really transformed my life, being able to tap on it, because I didn't want to touch it. It felt like I was like, no, how do I say that without feeling like I'm not, like I'm ungrateful or I don't understand that? Being able to say, yes, this is what happened. And now I understand that this, and that happened in that environment. So it gave me a sense of, wow. So now I can now pray and say, I'm so thankful, instead of being angry about the situation, I could be thankful for my mother having me. Because in this day and time, people are killing, there's abortions left and right. They're fighting for the right for an abortion. She was not perfect. Her dynamics and her situation wasn't perfect. And now that I understand that, she has so much trauma, unresolved trauma, angry. I could see that fire that was lit in that lady. That was what she was dealing with. So she couldn't do a whole lot of things because she couldn't find that in herself. So I understood that. And so you have a peace with it. You can heal from it. You can let it go and be whole on the inside. So I just wanted to share that because I thought about that when you was talking about that. So thank you for being transparent enough with
And
that.
I had and to answer, to go back a little bit in regards to what you were saying, believe it or not, it may sound crazy, but I actually thought I did deal with it. I actually thought it was taken care of.
It was a layer.
Yes. And when you bury something, remember, this is 30 years ago. So when you bury something because, okay, yeah, we broke up maybe 28, I don't know, 26 years. You break up and you think, okay, that's it. It's over. And I move on. But it was still present and still operating and help, use for me to make decisions in life today. And that's when I realized, no, I'm making decisions based on that situation, and that's not going to work. Okay. It's not right. And it was me trying to seek and find, and I also kept, as you said earlier, going around in a circle and not understanding why I can't get out of, no matter what I do, I feel stuck. Nothing's working. Every time I start something, I don't finish. Something is wrong. Something is open in the past that needs to be addressed. And that's when I started doing soul searching, because 30 years is such a long time. And you figure to yourself, I'm in the same place today that I was 30 years ago. Maybe not spiritually, but in other areas, oh yes, I'm still 30 years ago, same person. And I'm like, nah, something is wrong. Because we have to grow in every area, whether we want to or not. Growth is imminent. It's going to happen. So when you see yourself stuck and stunted, you got to take note and say, okay, what's going on here? And that's really what triggered me searching. And then, like I said, the moving away, that quiet time and having the time to be retrospective, that's when I said, okay, that's where it's coming from. And it had to be revealed to me because it was so buried. I thought I took care of it and I didn't. Yeah.
No,
Thank you.
Yeah, trauma is really real. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna just share something like when I was a teen, I made 3 attempts to do suicide. You know what I'm saying? And to unalive myself. You understand? And I always suffer with like anything traumatic that happens. The first thing I want to do is just
Kill yourself. Yes.
like this, right? So I'm give you like how I can't, I had to come into terms of it. I was in the military. And I didn't like Korea at all. I was away. I've never been away from family, friends. Even if I'm by myself, there's always a family close in the location. I never go where I don't have people around. You know what I'm saying? Even if I look like I'm by myself, I'm not really by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is the first time of me being like on my own. And you know what I'm saying? I hated the environment. I really didn't like the military at all. The screaming, the yelling, the whole this. I didn't really like it at all. And I used to fight periodically in there, you know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother story. But but you know what overtook me one day was like, you know, when you were in a military contract, it's not easy to go out and just say, I want to quit.
Right.
The worst thing you could do is raise your hand and say, I want to quit. They put you through so much trauma before
Yes.
that you quit that you want to change your idea of not to quit. You know what I'm saying?
That's the goal.
You know what I mean? So I was at a point where I was just like, look, I'm tired. And I went to I had bought like a you know, I like to buy those little Gillettes, you know what I'm saying? Those little sharp one-edged Gillettes. That's all I used to do to cut my hand. So I had brought one and I sat down with it. I think it was a Saturday. So I waited till a Sunday. I said, let me go to church, and then after I go to church, that's it. I'm coming. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like sometimes you could get so emotionally drained. You could get emotionally tired that you know, okay. So like my thing was like, after I overcome a difficult situation, that should be it. Everything should be smooth sailing.
Nope. Yeah, we all think like that.
You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so I get over this one. Like, okay, so take this. I got over basic training, but I'm still dealing with people as like the lowest ranking person in there. Everybody's telling me to do the worst things. So, okay, let's get over that. Now I'm this. Now I'm still got other issue to go. So I'm like, when does it stop?
Stop. Right.
When do I actually find peace? You understand what I'm saying? It's not like I overcome one thing and then there's something worse. Sometimes I don't even want to get up. I'm like, I don't even want to wake up because I don't know what's coming next. You know what I'm saying? And then it seems like people just won't stop. So then, you know, you develop violent reactions to like this because you're tired of the abuse. It's not that you know you're abusive. It's just the multiple things going on causes you to have a violent reaction to the thing. So I went and I think I told her there was a guy speaking on a Sunday, and I went to the church because they have English service, Spanish service, and whatever. So I went to the English service, and the man there is preaching too legit to quit. Right. So I sit there and I'm like, wow. It seemed, like how it seems like that the service is just for you, like and the words that they're saying just seems to resonate before you are going to walk away and do what you're going to do. So when he said too legit to quit, because that was my for all practical purposes, that was my last day on earth.
Wow.
I'm going in. I'm that's it. That's my last day. That's my last day. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. Or I'm gonna meet that great big war with somebody and they're gonna end it for me. You know what I'm saying? You look to fight that last fight that's gonna take you out. You know what I'm saying? And you go out in the blaze of glory. Either one, that was what it was. So I looked and I brought the tape. That was the first time I bought a tape of a service. I went,
Wow.
stayed after for like 45 minutes waiting to get the tape. Because they said that I said I need it today. I need the tape today. Like they said we could give it to you next week. I said, no, I need it today.
Today, right.
So they was like, you're gonna have to wait. I'm like, no problem. I'm here
Right.
and I'll wait. Right.
Okay.
You
Amen.
know, like something insignificant to somebody else would mean a whole lot to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
A word like that changed my whole outlook on what I was going through at the moment.
Going through. My Lord.
You understand like where I'm coming from, but that it may have done nothing for nobody else, but for me, I probably would not be speaking to you today, or I probably would have been in a vegetable state because you know what I'm saying, I didn't know what, you know what I'm saying, for me it was just, I'm tired. This constant fighting and this and that, it makes no sense to me. What's the ultimate goal? Where am I going after this? Why does it keep happening? These are questions I'm having with myself. I said, I got through this, I got through that, I felt good, and then it's still problems. What do I have to look forward to? Where is the goal? And these was questions like, so I don't know about y'all, but I'm not a talkative person. Like, I'm not going to sit there and ask these questions to nobody else. I'm trying to figure it out on my own. You know what I'm saying? And me trying to figure it out on my own, the answers is not coming clear. You know what I mean? So it was going to that service that answered a couple questions for me. You know what I mean? So I think I still got the tape. If I'm not mistaken, I still got the tape today. I still got the cassette tape today, right? So that was in 1993. I was in 1993. And we are now in 2024, 1993. That tape is still relevant to me today. I hold on to it till today because that was the unalive moment for me at that point. Because I saw no future in, and I saw no like the worth of me carrying on into a life of just problems.
Can you just believe, can you look at that and just, I'm just hearing you saying all, and then, and what's coming to my mind is resilience, right? So just being able to overcome that and to be able to be in a platform where you're now sharing and empowering other people with information and resources. What a great history, or I should say even a transition, right? From that to now this, to be in this place. It took time, it took energy, it took effort, and it took being able to overcome, and what you were able to do. So I was just hearing resiliency in my ear. So I was just thinking about that. I just like to share when I hear stuff like that.
See, like the military did a lot for me as far as dealing with problems, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, learn to navigate. So when I encounter issues now, I just don't sit down and just get flooded and quit.
Right. And knowing that you're stronger than the situation and you can overcome the situation. You have now the tools and the resources, like you said, to navigate it. So yes.
So now I wake up now, and so the situation is not, oh my God. The situation is, okay, so now I could do this to get out the problem. I could go around this way, I could go around that way. And you know what I'm saying? Now I start to navigate it through, and I start to look for solutions. You know what I'm saying? Instead of letting because sometimes the problem seems so overwhelming, we shut down, right? And the more I find it overwhelming, the more I look at the challenge and what I got to do to overcome it. And so we keep going and going and going. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like I'm totally like at this point where I'm at nirvana and no, absolutely not. I'm just saying that I'm better than I was before. How about that? You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's always still a process. It's always still a process. It's not like I'm telling you it's always a process. I'm always looking. And so the thing about it was, you know, like even when I came out of the service, I got introduced to reading a lot of books, you know, because I used to sit down and I used to want to, so like on Church Avenue, then like on 21st, people used to come, the Israelites, the 5%, they always used to come and talk about the Bible and stuff. So I try to talk and speak, but my conversation was limited, right? Only until what I heard and what was going on. So they would be speaking miles above my thing. And then we're like, so one guy came through, Craig, he's a 5%. He said, come here. And he took me to a book stand. He said, you know, you need to start reading some of these books so you can relate your what you have or what you want to communicate in a better way. So I started reading, and once I started reading, I couldn't stop. Like, because I wanted to be able to, I found a new way where I could express myself in a form that made, in a logical sense that made sense. And
Articulate yourself in the intellectual, on the intellectual level, I'm hearing you say.
yeah. That would be the right way to say it. So I was able to now speak on a better level than I was speaking at before, and I was able to bring factual stuff. And you know, it just helped me. On what I say that to say, what I say that to say is that when you experience, you know, we say a giant in your life, and it seems like there's no hope. The giant in your life is coming to show you who you are and the potentials that you have inside of you. And that's one thing I learned with speaking. So the problems doesn't come to destroy you, but it comes to make you. It comes to let out the things that you've been holding back, and so that you can know that you have it, so that you could be a better person. So the longer the problem is the more great it's going to make you. That's that, you know, and that's what it's because I read a book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way. And they said that every great invention, every great thing that happened in life.
I read that book. Great book.
Yeah. Everything that happened in life happened because of a need, of a problem.
That's right.
We needed to solve. And
that's right.
People became rich off of having a need, a problem, and was able to solve it and able to help solve other people's problems, which they became an important focal point for helping other people. And that's how they found their wealth, by adding value to other people. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, you know, I aspire and look for things to do. So I had to look in my thing, I had to look so much for like my purpose and my end game in order for it to make sense, because I couldn't see myself waking up and just taking this every day and living miserable without no end game. Right? Then it just doesn't, I don't want to get up, because it's the same thing without no conclusion or no destination. I don't know about you, but I have to have a destination in order to go to for it to make sense. If there's no destination,
exactly.
You just keep doing this, then what's the purpose? Just let me go now, let me have a nice sleep, and it's over. You know what I'm saying? But if there's something to look forward to, if there's something that I need to where to go to, or there's a destination, or there's a purpose for me, then I could see it happen. And so that's how I rationalize when I get to those anxious and like depressive moments.
But you know what I realized too, also, what you go through is always not, maybe it's not something for you. You can benefit from it, but it's something that you're going to give to someone else. You're going to be able to, when somebody else get to a point, or you get to where you need to be, you're going to be able to share with them what you've done and what you've been able to come through. So it benefit you because you had to go through it, but now you're being able to benefit somebody else by what you had to go through.
And
Trust me, I'm seeing that.
And so the point becomes, and this is why I actually share Sharon, because at some point your testimony is so powerful. What you speak inspired us. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, I came back to, I was like, wow. You know, I listened to it. I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? That I keep listening to that on the front all the time. All the time I'm listening to that. So,
and I didn't even get a chance to like really get, you know, I wanted to give more highlights, but I kind of lost a couple people, so I didn't want to continue, you know, going in. I just wanted to just hit the highlights.
That's the next one. God needed you to get as much as you needed. What you got in was what God wanted you to get in, and He had to save some for your next time you spoke. You didn't get everything in, but this is the part 2 of it. So
Yeah.
whether you lost them or not, that's their loss. But that was powerful, like Tony said. I'm telling you, I was like, it was like it was all over me. I was like,
Deja
I was
vu,
listening
huh?
to you. It resonated with me so much. I was like, I understood to a degree what she was talking about, and that whole not
And
every
believe it or
part of it.
not, while I was talking, Pastor is right when she say that the devil is real. Because while I'm talking, I hear the enemy telling me, "Oh, you don't want to say all of that. What if your mother see this recording? Oh, you don't want to talk about that. What if this person come back to you and say, you know?" And I was like, "Devil, I don't care. I gotta say it. It's on my paper." And that's why you have to write things down, because if it was listening to that voice, I would have stopped.
Oh, okay.
I would have stopped, because I'm like, you know how people do things to you and you're more sorry for them than they're sorry. You know, you understand? Like you the one that violated me. I remember when Chris Brown and Rihanna had this issue, Rihanna spoke about how she was actually going to bat for him because she felt sorry for him. And it's just so funny how you get these feelings like, okay, well, this person didn't protect you, but now you are the victim trying to get it out of your system and you're trying to protect them. Like,
That's what I
no.
was talking about with the betrayal. You feel like there's a betrayal, but until you touch that and bring it out, you just
Yes.
dancing around it. It has to come out.
And
Like you
that's what
have to be it, and it's just the truth. The
exactly.
truth.
Up. And it when I sit down and I think about, I'm like, dag, my own mom. Dag. Now you know why you have trust issues and you will never have a good relationship, because you have to deal with that trauma. You can't deal with no person. I don't care who they are. You will never trust them, because when that first person you're supposed to trust is your parents. And
Yeah.
when that trust is broken,
Everything else is gone.
It sets the foundation for everything else. Once it's not settled there, and I think so many times, and I know I don't mean to be beating the dead horse, but for me, foundation is so important, developmental, because we don't understand a lot of things, even in our parenting. They don't even understand. We didn't understand, but when we kind of look at it, we have a better picture and understanding. If it's messed up down here, everything else that you build on top of is not, it's just sand sliding because you didn't establish the right foundation. And that's what I was talking about. You have to get
and
it out.
that's where the no growth comes in, because the sand is just piling on top, but it's seeping through. And that's why physically you feel yourself, I'm not growing.
So
That's exactly.
for me, I always use this analogy. It's like being behind a glass window screaming and nobody's listening. They're walking by and you're like, help, help, and nobody's listening. And you're looking at everybody, but nobody's seeing you. The glass window effect.
And I always had to be that stronger person. That I always had to be the one to help other people solve their problems. But when I had a problem, it was all me. I had to do it.
Yeah. That's amazing.
You know what I used to think about and how I got to this place, and I got to be honest, it is nobody but the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and Pastor for being able to be really determined, consistent, persistent, and steadfast in her position as a leader in the work that she was called in. Because I used to sit and I'm being transparent about myself. And I remember God used to tell me, you're not a victim, you're a victor. Because I used to sit in these spaces and like there was I'm helping everybody, I'm solving it for everybody. And when I need help, there's nobody to come. To this day, I kid you not, I had to tell them, y'all asking me, but I got to go get it from Jesus. Like, I'm sorry, Tony, but this is where it's going with this. I'm like, y'all looking at me, but I got to look at Jesus. Like, y'all talking to me, but nobody, when I need something, I got to go to Jesus. Ain't nobody up in here helping me, but you pulling and you want. And it was like, it was many years ago, God had to literally tell me, you could stay in that mud. Like, it wasn't exactly what he said, but it was kind of like how I got it, how he gave it to me in my spirit. Like, you could stay there if you want, I already delivered you. I already took it out of you. I already took that out. I healed you from that. That is not your issue. Now you need to just get up, stand up, and walk. You know how he told the man, take up your mat and walk? That was what he was saying to me. But I was like, no, woe is me. Nobody help me. Why I gotta always do? Girl, get your butt up and go do it. He said to do it. And even in my not wanting to do it, still feeling that way, but walking and taking the steps, he showed me exactly what he could do. Like, get up, take the step. Like, I had to listen to him as much as I wanted to be staying there and be like, no, pick me up. Take, you know how you see the little kids saying, pick me up?
Yes,
He was like, I'm not picking you up. Get up. You're going to get up and you're going to walk. And reluctantly, because I felt like that, but he was saying, you don't need anybody to pick you up and get you up. I already took care of that. Get up. And it was him showing me, and that's when I was talking about the resiliency. He's tapping in. You're stronger than that. You just don't know it yet, but there's something in you. I'm in you. You're stronger than that. You can take this. You can do this. You can do that. And now, you know, I try not to cry and complain about, whine and complain about it. I mean, sometimes I do get in my flesh, but then I'd be like, all right, Lord, you whatever, like, all right, let's do it. Not like I want to do it, but let's just do it, right? When we get past that, for me, being able to get to a place and be wanting to be obedient and be like, all right, Lord, let's do it. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you I like it. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you I want to do it, but that's not important. Let's just do it. That's just my energy.
Well,
There you go.
I mean, the things that we don't want to do is actually the things that help us to grow. You know?
Right.
I like to be transparent.
Yeah. The very place we don't want to go is the very place we need to be.
We need to go.
Yeah, we need to go in order to get to where we need to be.
It's not like I have a big community around me. When I'm talking to him, I'm like, listen, I got to be transparent. If I can't tell nobody else, I got to tell you, this is how I'm feeling. Like, you and I, we going with this. Like, that's all I got is Jesus in my corner right now. I am in the state of Florida by myself. I still don't have any friends out here. You know, my gym is my family. You know, they my family. Right. They not my family, but those are the people that are between work and the gym. That's the only people I see all the time. So when I'm talking, right, I'm gonna have a good time. Jesus and I are gonna have a good time having the conversation. She's the only person I got to talk to over here. And so that space she was talking about, being able to separate and being able to move away, you get to see some things, hear some things, do some things. And so I'm by myself, and I won't say that I am, you know, I have my moments where it's kind of, so I try to, this is my mindset. This is what I did for the new year. And I'll just tell you, and I've been on social media doing that. We really, if we're going to make some changes, we got to think about our mindset, right? What's happening in our mind? What are we focusing our energy and our attention on? Really? Like, how do we make our mindset? Then it's, what are you feeding your mind? Are you feeding your mind something that's going to make you negative, angry, violent, or something that's going to help you? Then what type of languages are you speaking after you put those words in there? Like, how are we using words of affirmation to continue in our growth process, right? Now, what type of relationships, intimately, socially, professionally, are we cultivating, and what type of environment are we making? Like, all of that is just like making sense to me right now. And then I'm talking about tapping into that resiliency, that consistency. And my next piece is going to be self-care, like all of those components. So I ain't got nothing else better to do than to sit on the side and to be thinking about stuff like that. But I'm here. I find myself try to be productive as opposed to complaining about what I don't have. I choose to use what I do have just to do something positive. Like, I'm making a decision. I don't have to be, oh, I don't have nobody. God knows I haven't been out on a date, and I've not been on a date. Let's just be real and transparent, right? I don't even have a social life. But I'm okay with that. Like, I really find joy in being productive. For me, being productive. I don't know.
And learning about yourself.
And I had to take that journey. I will tell anybody, and I tell that to the ladies that I work in. When I work in a support group, and I see ladies that they just got out of a relationship like 4 months ago, and they talk about dating, and I be looking at them like, I'll tell them, you know what? Unless we kind of sit down and take the time, I'm not telling you to take a decade like I needed to do, but unless we take some time to really figure out how we got into this relationship, understanding who we are in this relationship, what are some of the dynamics, we're business as usual. We're going right back to the same situation, just looking another way. because you're trying to escape right now. You don't want to be
Yes,
by yourself. You don't want to
that's
do the
right.
work. I mean, that's not what I'm saying to them, but
Yes.
that is what the situation is. You don't want to do the work. You don't want to dig inside and figure out what happened. It's easier to move on to the next relationship. But I always encourage them to kind of take that time. It's not necessarily a bad thing to sit down and have time with self and rediscover who you are. What do you like? What are some things that are important to you? You know, what can you do? What are your strengths? But they don't want to hear none of that. They be like, I'm
They don't
lonely.
want to do it. It's too
I'm
much
lonely.
hard
I
work.
want to go out.
Exactly. And they want to put the pain and the ability of someone else solving the problem for them onto another person. They don't want to do the hard work for themselves. And it's sad, but that's touching on what Umar was saying, Dr. Umar was saying earlier about the young lady being promiscuous. It's very true, because you're just going from one to the next because you don't want to deal with that trauma. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and you don't want to self-reflect because it's too much pain and it's too time consuming. We tend to care from others more than ourselves, because if you knew how helpful and how necessary it is to do that self-care and that introspective look in, we would take the time and we would do it instead of jumping into another relationship so quickly.
Yeah, they don't want to do that. Most of them don't want to do that. They ready. They're like, I got me a, I'm going out, and I'm looking at them like,
Well,
but I have to be respectful.
no, so at the end of the day, number I was talking about the end game and an end game for a lot of people is a relationship. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand, like, people end game is different. Like, they don't, the whole living, the whole educating yourself is all about getting a better relationship. It's not that the ultimate end game is finding that someone to complete yourself for them. You know what I mean? So the way they know to do it is to go back into that dating scene, to go back again and to try again, to find out, or to find that little stimulant. I call it that cocaine boost for a couple seconds until the next cocaine boost happens, just to cope with what they actually can't find for that long-term reaction. You understand?
Right.
And
Yes.
the key to what they're looking for is actually not going out there, is actually self-development, which attracts what you're looking for and the qualities that you need. I found out that self-development doesn't only allow you to grow, but it allows the people that's looking outside of you attracts the same people that you're looking for. So the more you grow and the more you move, is the more you draw those type of people with you, and you begin to be able to build. So that's what
You know what's so funny, Tony and Sherry-Ann, you know what's so funny? If I would have thought about that, if you'd have asked me almost 10 years ago, if I thought I would be single right now, I don't think I would have. And to be honest with you, it was a moment, like a really rough moment. But when I thought about it, I mean, there's such a freedom, and I really love the institution of marriage. And I think everybody that that want to get married, if that is God's plan for them, that they should get married. I don't believe, we are human beings. We crave that. We long for that. That is a part of who we are developmentally and socially. Like, that's part of our whole process, right? But I think being able to really, like, that whole developmental process that we talked about, and I think, like you said, I don't think people understand just how freeing that is, to be able to come to a space, to be growing and learning and discovering and tapping into, Tony, like you said, understanding your potential, understanding your true end game, not what you would like it to be, but what you were really created to be able to do, right? To be able to fulfill and to walk in that. And I think it's such a freedom, and it's such a, I gotta be honest with you. Sometimes I'll be like, I don't know. I like, like, I go to the gym like all the time. Like, I don't know. You telling me I gotta give up my gym? Like,
So
I don't know. I've been in this place, I guess, because I've had to learn and I had to adapt to be here, and I had to really find something constructive to do with my time and my energy. Not that I just go to the gym. Of course, I sit on a lot of different, I do a lot of different things, but being able to build yourself up and be able to invest in yourself. I think that's like an investment, right? Taking time and understanding and being able to do those things. I don't think people really understand the power behind that, you know.
The power of what you're talking about is called self-discovery. It's find yourself. And once you find yourself, you're able to understand where you need to be, and you're able to understand what you need in your life, and you're able to look for those things other than settle for just being with somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great blessing. It's a great blessing that now, because of my self-improvement and my self-journey, now I understand the things that I need to understand in order to get myself in the best situations possible. And that's what that's all about. It's not about just being comfortable. It's about being comfortable in my own skin enough to be comfortable with somebody else. Because you can't be uncomfortable with yourself and comfortable with somebody else, right? It doesn't work. At some point, it begins to break up and your frailties begin to show, and it will cause friction, because your insecurities will only push the person away from you rather than bring the person to you, right? And
that was a nice summary, being comfortable with yourself and being comfortable with others. I really like that. That was really good.
Thank you. Yes, this is things you learn, I had to learn to be comfortable with my own self. And the thing about it is I only learned it through like taking up this mantle. And I guess we've been doing Jericho Roll for how many years now? Oof, for like what, 15 years? Something like that. And I mean, the growth from where it started to what it is now, and for us to be able to speak at a certain level is miraculous in its own self, and even to bring these things into fruition. So it taught me a lot about self-discovery, taught me a lot about relationships, it taught me a lot about myself. Not that I'm saying I'm not saying that I have arrived anywhere or whatever the case may be. I'm still in the growth process. You know what I mean? But now I'm in a better position than I was before. That's what I could tell you. That's what I could tell you. And every day is to be in a better position than I was before, because growth is unlimited. You can't look at yourself and say I've arrived, because there's so much more that we can do. There's so much more that there is. And so you, in my mind, you never arrive. You're just better than you was the day before. You know what I mean?
Can I just add something to what you said? You said that every day is to be better than you was, but what I also see in you, if you don't mind me saying, is that not only do you do that about yourself, but you're willing to share. So it's not something that you're selfish about. You're willing in this self-discovery, this exploration, you're learning, you're growing, you're expanding and growing your knowledge and your resources. But not only that, and it's making you a better person, but at the same time, you're willing to take the time to put something like this together, to share and to be able to educate and expand and give it to the community as well. I was going to say increase the community, but at least share this within the community. So you're educating the community as well, if you don't mind me saying that.
No
Because
problem.
I see that. I think sometimes we don't, giving ourselves, I'm not saying in certain platforms, we don't want to, it's okay that you recognize you're doing this. You're not bigging up yourself, but the work that you're doing, you just cut yourself so short. And I'm hearing and I'm listening, and I'm going to say, no, Tony, not only are you learning and you're growing, but you are unselfish and you're willing to share what you got with others. You give your time, your energy, your resources. You are dedicated, you are committed, and you want to build not just yourself, but other people in the community. If I may be so kind to say that, if you don't mind.
Thank you. I appreciate that. God bless you for your so kind words. It's just that I found that sharing helps to add on to the things that you learn. And you know what I'm saying? And I heard somebody say, and I always looked at it, success is nothing if you have nobody to share it with. You know what I'm saying? And sharing it doesn't mean like you have to have a relationship. Sharing it means that you have great people around you that enjoy what you do and genuinely enjoy you for who you are as a person, right? And y'all could enjoy each other. That is a relationship within itself. You know what I'm saying? People define relationships in such an morbid way, and not in a morbid way, but such in a one-dimensional way. When it's truly that we are multi-dimensional people and can enjoy the same things on different levels of interactions. And because we don't, and because we limit ourselves, we limit the nature of the great relationships that we can have with other people and able to share and able to grow with each other. I find that we are social people, and through our networks and through our learning, even the bad interactions help us to grow and help us to help mold us and become who we are. And that's what we call character building. It's why we develop. It's how we grow as a person. Life is nothing if you're not able to grow and not share with the people that you're growing with.
And that we all evolve together, because I'm hearing like we grow, we learn, we evolve, and we're sharing it so that others can learn and grow. It's such a domino effect. Thank you so much. I love this platform, so thank you.
Oh, I love y'all. Y'all truly, you know, we truly had
Yes, thank you.
yeah. But yeah, Sherry Ann, I just had to let you know that that was a powerful test. It's still like I still
I
reminisce.
should have given it again. I just realized because the YouTube people did not log into our service.
Yeah, you know what?
So,
we going when I fix the computer.
yes,
That would be perfect.
Yeah,
I would love to share it on this platform because it helps me to
I wanted to ask you that, but you
It's
know,
gonna not just help you, it's gonna help a whole lot of people.
yeah. So what I wanted to do was give you time to, you know, maybe you want to rewrite or do whatever you want to do, add on what you didn't add on before, whatever the case might be. And then, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna work on that for next month. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds good.
So we're gonna give you some time to do that, and then we gonna go, because like I said, what you had is just so powerful. I listened to it, and you know, there's so many twists and turns, and what I was expecting, I just looked at my mouth drop. I'm like, okay, where we going next? No, in my mind, I'm like, no, say no. And you what? You know, I'm looking and I'm like, wow. So you know what I mean? It was like I didn't want you to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus. That's to God be the glory, because that was him prompting me on the other side. You know how years ago we used to watch the cartoon with the devil on one side and the angel on the other?
It's always
I
like
had that angel telling me, go ahead, just keep talking. Don't worry about who don't understand. Just keep going. And so I thank you. And I thank God I got it out, because now later, the next time, it can be more enhanced. It can definitely, because the hard part is over. The getting it off.
the initial part is over. The shot.
Right.
So
Yes.
now you can flow. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. We do appreciate the time you took to share with us. And
One more.
we're over here, and we still working with the kids. You know what I'm saying? Just to let you know, we did a Jericho Road function of 60 kids, 160 kids showed up. It was so
Wow.
and then if you look at the clip, when I went to put the kids on camera, they all started screaming. Yeah, they were so happy. Let me tell you.
Man, you are doing a great work, and I wish I was there. When I saw their faces in the camera, I was like, dang, I wish I was there, because they look genuinely
I was like, what can we
appreciative
do? What can we do? Right? Like, what can we do to kind of support that? Yes.
That was totally unplanned. Let me tell you, I didn't even know that so many kids would show up. They all, because you know, I've been doing this for a while. So people came from they took taxis to come to the event. I had to leave the event and buy more food for the kids. I spent more of my time buying food than I was there with them, because it wasn't enough. I brought for 100, because we said 60, so I bought 100.
Right.
And then I had to double up on everything again, and more kids kept coming, and more kids kept coming. We had to we just had to shut it down at a certain point.
Right. Wow.
That got bigger than me. That day it got bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? That day it was bigger than me. But you know, it was just the kids, when they saw me, I didn't even know that they started running up. Hey, this and that. One kid just ran up. I just started up. I'm like, you know who I am? They're like, yes. One kid told another kid that I'm his grandfather. He looked at me.
Wow.
You know, so like I said, we got another event coming up next week. And you know, we doing a soccer tournament for the kids.
Okay.
And after the soccer tournament, right, we feed them. So we're gonna have it for the grown-ups and for the kids. Last time we had a total of 6 teams. It was 3 games, and they came, they refereed it. And then after the soccer game, we came and eat. The kids from all over in the neighborhood came and eat. The pastor, the church came, they was thanking us for it. So it was real nice. And then they asked me if I was going to do it again next week. I said, nah, it's next year. But they was cool. So we going next week, and we're going to do another program. And like I said, I got a couple more programs to do. So I mean, God is good, man. I mean,
That's awesome, Tony. That's awesome.
and this is what I was talking about, like my end game. You know, I told you my end game is something to look forward to. In spite of
Yes.
things that's always going on with me, I have something that I could look forward to and do that helps me to take away from the monotony of just, you know, the drudge of life. You know what I'm saying? You know, I have a lot of family in here, and as you all know, I've heard the story that, you know, we would once go and they all turn on you, and you know, you look at you like, all these years you sat down and you said like you ain't had no good in your heart for me all this time, and you know, once that happens, so you just can't believe, and you looking like this is the same person that whatever. These are things that's happening. It's just and it's just real like that. And so you got to look for an end game to deal with all of this stuff so that it just makes sense.
Yep.
Well, the fact that you're changing lives out there, that the kids recognize you, they know you, they come to count on you, and they see you, they run up to you, they can recognize you. That means that the work is getting out. That is really good that you're having an impact in the community. Quick question. Are you guys giving out any information? What do you guys do when y'all always, do y'all give out, do you have somebody giving out
You
information?
got to remember, like, I'm the only, like, people just come to help. So the rest, I'm the only one that's working. So most of the time, I'm just staying, making sure the event goes and what they need.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I let the people that's in charge of the event, again, the people, I let them do the speaking. You understand what I'm saying? And then relate to the people. What it is I'm just glad that, because we do it with the churches. So I let the pastors and stuff speak so that they could get out their message and speak to the people and increase the amount of people that need help. You know what I mean? You know, it just so happens. Look, I just met a young lady. She was talking, and I was talking about how mothers is not. I was talking about your testimony, you, Sherry Ann. I was telling stuff like that, and the girl told me, she said, I'm in a situation just like that. I have a kid, and my mother threw me out the house. I have nowhere else to go, and
Wow.
he says she's not. I think she's barely old enough to get a job, but what she cooks. So when she gets enough money, she invests, she cooks, and that's how her and her daughter is able to eat. You know what I'm saying? And if
Thank God.
there's no
Thank
money,
God she has a skill.
yeah, if there's no money to invest, it doesn't eat. So I said, look, we're gonna hire you to do some cooking. As a matter of fact, I just remembered that we got to hire to do some cooking. And
Amen. Give back.
so yeah. So I'm gonna call and let her know we're gonna hire, what she can cook, and you know what I'm saying, and then invest and see what happens from there. But I'm just saying that, and that just to show you that your testimony crossed the river.
Wow. Oh my Lord, that blesses my heart. Thank you.
Somebody that doesn't even know who you are, and I'm telling them your story, and then they telling me their story, and it's a lining up, and then now I can help. I'm getting out to help. So that's how I'm saying how.
Well, I'm gonna put it out there that I can't wait to come out there and give it in person.
In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Look how stories transcend from where we
Yes.
it crosses over to other things. And now you just help me with your story to help to be an inspiration to somebody that just needs. So, and I gotta call a girl today. As a matter of fact, I forgot. You know how these things slip your mind. So
Yes.
to go to help so she could
Yes.
whatever. And it's just to help, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
Tony, I have an idea. I'm just thinking, I know that now next week is kind of short notice. And maybe you want to put it out there that Jericho Roll in because we're still operating. Maybe we can donate. I mean, and I'm talking about me when I need a whole lot of help over here, financial assistance over here. But I mean, being able to sew in the work, we're still a part of the committee. We're still a part of the team. Maybe it's something that Jericho Roll Inc. could do. Maybe not now, but we can say, you can say in the future, look, we're thinking about doing something over here. Any donations you may have toward the Jericho Roll Inc. would be appreciated. We're doing whatever over here. Just a thought. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot, whatever they, I know you do all of this by yourself, but I'm just saying.
hopefully one day, so the whole goal is hopefully one day that we can do an excursion trip, and those that are in Jericho Road could come over and they could see the work that I'm doing here, and that we all could invest together. You know what I'm saying? So that's hopefully what we want to do.
But while we working on that excursion, we still have you probably have some upcoming events. Maybe that this is a good way to keep them connected to the work so that they don't feel disconnected. It doesn't have to be a lot, $5, whatever they can afford, but at least being able to contribute. Jericho Road Inc. is still operating. We're doing work over here. This is our missionary work or outreach work, whatever it is. They still have an opportunity. Not now because it's kind of short notice, but something in the future we can say, would you be able to? All we can do is just ask so that you're not putting all the money out of your pocket. It's just an ask. That's it.
No, we definitely gonna look into that. And like I said, some of these things I get here and it's planned on the spot. Like I said, okay, let's go here. All right, so let's do this. All right, let's do that. You know what I mean? The work was, how I started. I used to get ladies to cook, and I would get rice, chicken, and a salad, and I would make the plates. But like 100 plates cost you like $200. Remember, because you got to buy the food, then they got to cook it.
Right.
Like that. So I flipped it. Like one day I couldn't get the lady to cook and I had an event to do the week. So what I did was I got candies and I got cake and I got hamburgers and hot dogs. And I asked them if they had a stove there. So boom, I didn't need to get nobody to cook. And the $300 of less, I got more product, I could feed more kids. And then we was able to do it that way. So then I evolved the program from there. You know what I'm saying? And
So maybe a Jericho Roll Inc. fund. Maybe it's a fund that we can put some money to. It don't have to be. It's something that we have throughout the time. Even if it's on the spot, I think still getting committee members and the community involved, just because they don't want to feel like the work is not here. You're still doing the work. And if we can't have as much input and reach, at least sharing something to kind of support the work. So let's think about that.
As a side note, we still I want to sit down and we're going to talk about if we could still do like a walk in New York for October. I just got reached out. The council member just reached out to me. She said nobody's doing what y'all doing, and they want us to come back to do the walk. So I wanted to sit down and see how we could organize that and do that together. On that good note, so there's a lot of stuff that we still got to do.
You want to stop sharing, Tony?
Yeah.
Stop recording.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see how. Okay. Stop.